So here I am, back at Kennedy Lake. It's the first time I've been back this fall. I was here once this summer. We got a bunch of smaller trout. We had one good set of rains, and then the weather broke. It's middle of October. The weather broke into this most incredible, I guess it's a racist thing to say nowadays, but where I grew up, they called this Injun Summer. It's the most incredible time of the year. You think that summer is done and gone and you're ready for 6 months of gloom and driving rain, and all of a sudden the weather breaks into this day after day after day. I've never seen anything like this one. It's been like 10 days already, and it's just supposed to go on and on. So there surely would have been some fish come up into the lake. We'll go around and see if we can catch a few. So I lost when I was here filming last year about this time, I got into a few couple really nice days, and it was the first time I ever filmed underwater. And I actually caught a big coho on my homemade spinner after I just filmed the fish underwater and filmed my spinner underwater. Sadly to say, I lost that spinner to a giant steelhead this summer at another lake which shall remain nameless. So I've got this other one that's kind of similar. It's an old rooster tail body on a shaft that I bought from Lure Parts online, and a blade from Lure Part, little bits and pieces. But notice that it's got a teeny little hook on it instead of a great big hook. A great big hook on this spinner, if you get a small fish on that spinner, the big hook is going to come right through the side of their head and right through their eyeball. This one's not going to do that. Whether it's big fish or little fish, it's going to hook them in the lip, or else not at all. So there should be a couple cutthroat hanging out here. We'll see. So there's a couple feet more water in the lake. Now they had rain, and it hasn't rained for a long time, but there was enough that the lake is about 2 feet higher than it was when we were here in July or August, whenever it was. Might be some fish right here. I guess not. There we go. Nice cutty. All right. Look at that hook come right out. If that hook had been a big hook, it would have come right through the eyeball. So notice 3 things. That was the first fish ever caught on this homemade lure. Notice that even though it's got a great huge blade on it, that was a small trout, and it still bit on this little hook on it. Number 2, notice that the single barbless hook is just polished smooth. There's absolutely nothing for a barb on there. And notice, I don't know if you could see, when I caught that fish, I reached in to pick the fish out of the net, and the hook just fell right out of its mouth. I didn't have to take the hook out. Number 3, notice the tiny little hook on this guy. Compare that to a store-bought Mepps similar size blade, but look at the hook on this guy. And if I had caught that fish on this hook, this hook would have almost surely, instead of coming through the lip, it would have almost surely come out right through that fish's eyeball, and that would have been the end of that fish. It wouldn't have killed the fish right away, but it would have been blind in one eye, and it shortly would have been eaten by some bigger fish or osprey or a otter or something. So that would have been the end. So kudos to my homemade lure. First fish ever caught on that one. Shut up and fish, pal. This lure I'm using is the twin sister to another one that I made last year. I made them both last summer. And I caught a lot of fish on the other one. But unfortunately, I was up at fabulous N2 Lake this summer, and I let that other lure dangle beneath my boat on this reel has no anti-reverse. And I just started motoring away. I was just opening my coffee, hadn't even made a cast yet, and great huge steelhead grabbed it and nearly yanked this rod overboard and made a big snarl, and that was the end of that. It broke off. What a great lure that was. Quite often it seems to me that these fish at this spot, there'll be lots of bigger fish early in the morning, late in the evening, but not so much this time of day. Oh, there's one. Take it back. Another cutty. Oh yeah. I got my pliers. Oh, you got off. Cool. See, there's your barbless hook. Want to bring that fish into the boat? Why bother? It's too little to bring in the boat. That's two. I'm trying to creep up along this weed bed. I know this is going to be ruinous video footage because I'm shooting right into the sun, but I'm just trying to get through this spot before I spook the fish. When we were here this summer, this is about where I had to park the boat. This was the shoreline then. Oh, there's a big one. Just swirled. That was a good fish. There's fish here. Tell me he didn't. Oh, there he was. Hit. Hit. Oof. Just a little one. There was a big one out there. I saw it rise. Right there. There's a better one. Man, there's some cutthroats in here today. Oh, that's a nice one. Look at that. Maybe you can get some, maybe I can get some video of that one. See if I can get him in the net. I've got my pliers right in the net here. Boy, there's some fish. Oh, man. There's some fish here today, huh? Oh. Hey, he fell off the hook and fell right in the net. Gotta like that. Talk about single barbless. Fell right off the hook in midair and fell right in the net. This looks more like a, like it's been in the lake for a while. Maybe. Still. Oh well, still a nice fish. There's a riser just past there. Normally you have to wear full metal jacket, full rain gear, heavy duty winter clothes to be on the lake at this time of the year. You gotta love it. Not a bad day. We'll have to see if we can find a few fish. Looks like there's no cohos, but I'm going to scout around, see if there's some cutthroats at point B. There should be some coho jacks here too, but they must have all gone up into the river, up into the creeks, because boy, they're sure not evident in the lake there. But anyway, if I can locate some cutties, I'm going to come back tomorrow with the fly rod and get them on the fly rod. I got over towards spot B here. I haven't found spot B yet, but I saw some fish rising in these. These are deep lily pads. The pads all broken off them, I guess, in the storm. We had a storm, and I just hooked a really nice cutty here. Lost him right where I saw that one rise. Should have turned. Oh, there's another one. Oh, that's a nice one. Look at this. First good one I've had today. Oh yeah. Just missed his twin brother. Yes, sir. Oh, that's a coho jack. Coho jack. First coho of the trip. Whoa, there's a big one. That was a big coho. That wasn't a jack. I think I found some fish here. I have to come here with the fly rod tomorrow. I think that was another coho jack. There's a better one. Oh, he's down in those weeds. Oh, down in this thick cabbage weeds here. Oh, yeah. In the salad. In the salad, folks. Whoa. Look at. Look at. Come on. Whoa. Whoa. Under the boat. Tangled in the weeds. Whoa. How do you like that? Ah, he doesn't like it very much. He or she. Nice fish. Oh, middle of October. Whoa. Gotta love it, man. Oh, he's just ripping up those lily pads. Come on. Ah. Gotta love it, huh? Kennedy Lake, October coho. Yes, sir. In the cabbage. Adios, amigo. I think there's some fish here. You can see those peaks out there. I believe that is the Mackenzie name. I was looking it up on Google the other day, and those peaks, you know, like Mount Everest and the Matterhorn, all those famous mountains were climbed long ago. These mountains were never climbed until the 1960s. It was the first time anybody ever made it up onto the top. That smoke you see is where they're clearing for they're blasting the whole side of that mountain in order to make finally a decent highway on that grade up from Kennedy Lake. So those are burn piles from the road project there. Well, I'm back in from a trip around the lake. Got some burger, got some nog. Be nice to have something to mix in with that nog. Well, it sure would be nice to have something to mix in with that nog. Huh. Wonder what you might find down in this knot hole here. Wonder what a person might find in this big old hollow cedar tree. Oh, look at that. What do you know? Seek and ye shall find. Gotta like that. Got a nice coho, nice cutthroat, and look what I found. A little bit of nog. I might not even go fishing this evening. We've got another little cutty here. Got another little cutty. Single barbless. I was born and raised near Chicago, USA, in a lily-white suburb of rectangular houses with rectangular lawns. In those days, everybody read the Chicago Tribune newspaper. The front page was always black and white, headlines about war or crime, except that once a year, in late October, when we got a few days of nice weather, for one day the whole front page would be devoted to a color cartoon called Injun Summer. It was created by a guy named John McCutcheon in 1907, so it had already owned the front page for 40 years before I was born. I first saw it before I was able to read, and then every year after that, until I went through college and moved away. There is some brief text around two images, both of the same scene. An old man is sitting around a campfire talking to a young boy, with an autumn cornfield in the background. He's telling the boy that at this time of year, when the sun goes down and the sky is hazy and the moon is full, the spirits of the Aboriginal people, the true owners of this land, may become visible to us humans. That cartoon made an indelible impression on my young mind, one that is still etched in my brain. Kennedy Lake is one of the biggest lakes on Vancouver Island. For almost half a century, I explored its shores and its fisheries, and I rarely saw another boat on the water. The spots I am fishing in this episode, and also in the next one, which tells the story of what happened the following day, are not just random locations. Aboriginal people fished these same spots for thousands of years. But they didn't just fish for recreation, although I suspect that they rather enjoyed a good day in the water. They fished for food. These spots I am fishing once fed a nation. And sometimes, late in the evening, when the moon is full and the fog settles in over the reed beds, I could swear that I hear voices out in the mist, talking in a language I don't understand, a language that I will never understand. They're voices from 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago. They're talking about how great the fishing is at Kennedy Lake, only they call it by some other name. I was a young man when I shot this video. Then I had a stroke and got old in one night. Now I'm a cripple who can barely fish and hardly even talk. My voice will be joining the ancients soon, but I hope that this video will live on to give a taste, a little sip of the place I once knew. On the most perfect day of the year, Injun Summer.